Alright, hello. I got back into Vermintide 2 recently, and I wanted to go ahead and give a couple of bits of information that I had found useful, either that I had to remember, found out, or just, that looking through different tips and tricks got me. This is sort of just a general tips and tricks for anyone who is coming back or a new player. So, after you've played the prologue, when you get into the game, if you look at the keep that you start off in here, and you go to the left, up these stairs, take the first door, and you go here, you'll go into the courtyard. The courtyard is great because it has these training dummies. And it has a bunch of other tools you can use to test different things out. For instance, you can test out how hard your swing is with different weapons, how hard you hit compared to other weapons, and in particular you can find information out like, let's say, what a headshot will do with the crossbow here versus the pistols. You can see a huge drop off over there. Why is that? Well, that's because that's an armored target. These dummies up here are armored. These down here are not armored, and they represent the different kinds of enemies you'll find. Generally speaking, there are three types of enemies: unarmored, armored, and monstrous. Monsters are going to be the rat ogres, the chaos spawn, the minotaur, the bile troll, and the gas rat ogre, which name eludes me at the moment. But anyways, those monstrous enemies are called monstrous if you look for items that have, like, does extra damage to monstrous enemies or reduce damage from them. What you can do is, here is also you find that you have treasury here, which includes some bombs and ammo and other things to help you sort of really understand your abilities and what you can do. One trick that's pretty handy is a way to increase how much bomb damage does, and that is to get the potion of strength and the bomb. You drink the potion of strength, you throw the bomb right away, boom, got double damage. And the thing is, that strength boost does affect bombs, but also affects pretty much everything else, including special abilities, during that time that's active. So, you can see that you have charge attacks, hold and hit, regular attacks, and they have different effects if you hit the head versus hitting the body. And you, of course, get random crits. Now, if you want to arrange these training dummies, you can pick them up, move them around. This one helps if you want to try something like figuring out how far wide your attacks are. Another quick tip that's very handy is tagging. So what tagging does is it highlights enemies, particularly special enemies. Special enemies are any that aren't the basically run-of-the-mill fodder enemies. So, monstrous enemies and ones like the hook rats, armored rats, and any unusual enemies that have any kind of special ability will get picked up by tagging. By default, tagging is the T button on a computer keyboard, but you can also hit escape go to options, key bindings, find the tag only or tag / social wheel, which is for emotes. And I have it set for my A and D so that it's always going off, because that way you can tag an enemy that you may not even know was there. Like if you're dodging around and you turn to check over your shoulder and you hit whatever button you've got that's tag, it can tag an enemy you may not even know was there. This alerts your team because it highlights for your entire team, and of course lets you know also certain abilities and such might have an effect. Like for instance, Witch Hunter here does extra damage to enemies that have been tagged. See how it's not tagged anymore? If I hit it times, it's averaging 4.75. So if I tag it, it's now averaging 5.75. Alright. As far as weaponry goes, I think I mentioned it, but if you're to get rid of special enemies, which tend to be the most troublesome, especially early on, as you're starting off, I would recommend something with the sniper description. You see there's a couple of green descriptions here. That sniper description basically means that when you get a headshot, even on an armored target, it ignores a lot of that armor value. So you see how it's doing a ton of damage even though the enemy is armored. Alright. And tagging also works on items like these potions. If you tag a potion, it lets your entire party know that it's there, and it highlights it so that they can see it. It also will highlight potions, bombs, and other things through chests sometimes, so it's also a way to sometimes notice where a potion that might otherwise be hidden is. Another very handy trick is the block revive. You can go up to friendlies that have been knocked down into the red and need to get revived by going up to them and holding the revive key. You can go up to them, you can block, and while you're blocking, you hold the block button and and do the revive, and it will block it can block enemy attacks that come in. So that's a good way to keep, to prevent your revive from being interrupted, and gives you, less damage overall coming in. Right? Also, some weapons have a special. You will note that this one has regular swing, charge stab, combo attack. It also has a third attack, the offhanded shot. And you can actually see when a weapon has a special, because it says so. You see weapon special. The default key is the B key on the computer keyboard, but you can go in to your options menu, keybind it, and go ahead and do weapon special. Of note is that you can bind multiple things to the same key. For instance, if you wanted to do, say, the tag, you could set it to also tag on your attack key, on your reload key, while it still does those functions. Like if I wanted to do that, I could say tag only R. And you see how it doesn't remove it from reload. So now when I reload, I'm also tagging. Although I prefer the way I had it. Changes, return to game. Alright. Now, if you want to party with your friends, you have you can hit escape, go over down here to the social menu, and you'll see a list that has your friends in it. In that list, the join a friend's game is 2 crossed swords, which I think is a little funny, but it's not the what comes to mind when I think of how to join someone's game, 2 crossed swords. Alright, another quick little note is for train dummies. When you pick them up, I found for whatever reason they tend to fall a lot when you throw them. Of course, it doesn't do it the one time I do, anyways. So if you're having trouble getting the train dummy, land where you want it to, I've had success by just aiming at my feet and throwing it. Alright. You can also manage the bots that you play with. If you go to escape, hero selection, you can manage the priorities here. You right click to have them change which subclass they play as. And you can also, they will use whatever gear is on that particular subclass. Note that gear is just changed by subclass, so if I were to switch to, say, the mercenary or the zealot, they would have different gear than my current witch hunter. Aside from that, you can do crafting if you want to power up gear really fast. Gear power affects your hero power, which, as you can read, does some different effects here. Quick trick is a little crafting. You can salvage items that you don't need or are in particular lower level. Right click on it, put it in there. You can get up to 9 things at a time. You get scrap, and then either a weapon or jewel kit. Sometimes it's not guaranteed. And then you can craft an item. This is a way to increase your average level of your item, because you can also check, like here, I've got a charm 167, crossbow, main weapon, trinket, etc. And then you find whatever's the lowest, and then I would recommend then crafting that. And you could use that to get your equipment up and hero power up to over 300, which is supposed to be a break point. That is, I haven't done tons of research on, but from some information I got while I was reading, that is apparently the important number to get to. If you press the C button, you will go to your Spoils of War, which have different reward chests. You will see that you get a lot of commendation chests early on, because you get them as you level and complete various quests. It used to be that you wanted to hold on to them, but that's changed due to some patches that have come in. And from what I've read, it is now recommended to go ahead and open these, but concentrate on one character so that their average level goes up. And because characters share the defensive, necklace, charm, and trinket slots, you want one character to have a high level of those items, and that makes it easier to boost the power level of their weaponry. Alright, I hope that this was useful, and this is my first time doing this. If you'd like, please go ahead and subscribe and like it, and especially if you're interested in more content. And I might put something together about the different enemies that are out there, especially if this does well. Alright, well, everyone have a great time, and thank you for watching. Farewell.